You've been using Claude CoWork wrong. Not because you're bad at prompts, not because the tool doesn't work, but because every single session, CoWork wakes up with zero memory of who you are, what you do, or how you want things done. You're starting from scratch. Every single time. What if you could give CoWork a permanent instruction manual, one it reads before it does anything? A memory system that builds on itself session after session. A structure that organizes your entire work life the way a real operating system would. That's exactly what we're building today. I'm Maya with AI Biz Catalyst, and this is the CoWork OS setup that changes how you use AI at work. Permanently. Stay with me through this video, because by the end, you're going to have a system most CoWork users don't even know exists. Here's what most people do with CoWork. Open a session, type a prompt, get a result, close it. Tomorrow, same thing. Open, prompt, close. The AI has no idea you're a solopreneur. It doesn't know your writing voice. It doesn't know your clients' names, your file naming conventions, your decision-making style. Nothing. Every session is employee day one, and you're the manager who never wrote down the job description. The result? You spend half your time re-explaining yourself. You get generic output that doesn't sound like you. And CoWork makes judgment calls you would never make, because it literally doesn't know how you think. There's a fix. 2 text files. That's the whole system. The first file is called CLAUDE.md. This is the instruction manual. Every rule you want CoWork to follow. Your brand voice, your file naming conventions, your non-negotiables. CoWork reads this file at the start of every session, so your rules are always loaded before any work begins. The second file is MEMORY.md. This is the persistent notepad. Every session, CoWork can write learnings, preferences, and decisions into this file. Next session, it reads them back. Your AI gets smarter every time you use it, without you repeating yourself. Together, these 2 files turn CoWork from a generic assistant into a system that knows who you are. This is the CoWork OS, and we're building it right now from the ground up. The CoWork OS has 3 levels. Think of it like a company org chart. At the top, root. This is your global layer, the rules that apply everywhere, across every task, every project, every session. Your voice, your tone, your standards. Root-level rules are the Constitution. They never get overridden. In the middle, workstations. These are your departments. Email HQ, personal finances, client work. Each workstation has its own context, its own templates, its own focus area. At the bottom, projects. These live inside workstations. Trip planning, mortgage tracker, client onboarding. Each project inherits everything from the workstation above it and adds its own specific context on top. The further down the hierarchy, the more specific the instructions. But the foundation, your rules, your voice, your standards, is always running underneath. 3 levels, 1 folder. Everything CoWork needs to work like you. Start at the top. Your root CLAUDE.md. This file lives in your main CoWork OS folder, the folder you give CoWork access to at the start of every session. Open any text editor and create a file called CLAUDE.md. Inside, write your global rules. Things like your name and what you do. Your writing voice, casual or formal, short or long, first person or second. Your file naming conventions. Output rules that apply everywhere. Always ask before deleting, always confirm before sending, always flag uncertainty instead of guessing. One critical constraint. Keep your root CLAUDE.md under 300 lines. Every line costs tokens at the start of every session. Keep it tight. Keep it focused. If a rule only applies to one workstation, it belongs in that workstation's file, not here. Root is the Constitution. Constitutions don't have footnotes. The second root file, MEMORY.md. This starts empty, and that's fine, it builds over time. Every session, as you work, CoWork can update this file with things it learned about you, preferences you expressed, decisions you made, context that will matter next time. The move that makes this powerful is called a session audit. At the end of a session, you tell CoWork, run a session audit and update MEMORY.md. CoWork reviews what happened, extracts the key learnings, and writes a structured, date-stamped summary into the file. Over time, this file becomes a genuine record. Your AI stops guessing and starts knowing. It knows you prefer bullet lists over paragraphs. It knows you always want a plain text version for email. It knows you've already decided how to handle a recurring task, so it doesn't ask again. 30 seconds at the end of every session. Compounding returns every session after. Now let's build a workstation. The first one, and the one most people need immediately, is Email HQ. Email HQ is a universal workstation. It's not tied to one project, it serves everything. Proposals, follow-ups, newsletters, client updates, all of it. Inside the Email HQ folder, you create a CLAUDE.md specific to email work. This file tells CoWork, here's my email tone. Here's how I open and close messages. Here's the formality level I use with different audiences. But here's where it gets precise. You extract your voice directly from your own sent emails. Filter your Gmail sent folder for your best, most representative emails from the past 6 months. Copy them into a file in the Email HQ folder. Add a line to the CLAUDE.md. Study these examples before writing any email. Match this voice exactly. CoWork isn't guessing at how you write. It's working from evidence. That's a different category of output. The second workstation example, personal finances. This one is dedicated, built for one specific type of work and nothing else. Inside the CLAUDE.md, your spending categories, your budget targets, your recurring bill dates, your financial goals. Rules like always present spending in a table, always flag any expense over $200, always use US dollars. The MEMORY.md for this workstation stores what changes over time, month-to-month patterns, budget adjustments, notes from previous reviews. Next time you drop in a bank statement and say, review last month, CoWork already knows your categories, your targets, and your history. It doesn't ask you what a subscription is. It doesn't need you to define your budget tiers. It just works. That's the difference between a generic AI and a CoWork OS. Underneath each workstation, projects. A project is a specific, bounded piece of work. A trip you're planning, a mortgage refinance, a workshop you're running next month. Each gets its own folder inside the relevant workstation. Inside that folder, a CLAUDE.md with project-specific context, dates, participants, constraints, goals, and a MEMORY.md to capture what happens as the project moves forward. The key thing? Projects inherit everything from the workstation above. If your Email HQ workstation has your voice rules loaded, and you're writing an email inside a client project, CoWork has both, your general email standards plus the specific project context. Both loaded automatically. You're not re-explaining anything. You're not typing context into every prompt. The context is already there, organized, layered, ready. One folder structure replaces 100 prompt templates. That's the trade you're making when you build this system. Let's see this in action. You had a call with a client this morning. The recording is in your project folder. You need to send a follow-up email today. You open a CoWork session and point it at your client's project folder. CoWork reads the CLAUDE.md files, global rules, Email HQ workstation rules, client project context. All of it. Automatically. You say, draft a follow-up email based on today's call transcript. Reference the action items we agreed on. Keep it under 200 words. CoWork pulls the transcript. Cross-references the calendar entry. Drafts an email in your voice, your opening style, your formality level, your standard closing. It names the action items correctly. It gets the tone right. You read it. You tweak one sentence, you send. That's not AI assistance.
That's an AI that knows your work. There's a real difference between those two things. And that difference is exactly what the CoWork OS creates.
2 more real-world examples, because this is where people start to feel the system. Auto-routing. You take a photo of a receipt on your phone. You drop it into your CoWork folder. Your root, CLAUDE.md, has one rule. When you see a new image file in the root folder, identify what it is and move it to the correct subfolder. CoWork sees the file, identifies it as a receipt, moves it to Personal Finances, Receipts, May 2026, without you doing anything beyond dropping the file. Second example, Notion project creation. You land a new client. You drop the project brief into your folder and say, "Create a Notion project page for this engagement." CoWork reads the brief, reads your project template rules from CLAUDE.md, and builds the page with exactly the structure you specified. Same structure every time. No re-explaining, no reformatting, no hunting for last month's template. That's what a system does. It removes the friction from work you do repeatedly. 3 pro tips before you go build this. 1. Keep your root CLAUDE.md under 300 lines. Every line in that file costs tokens every session. Tight rules, no duplicates. Anything specific to one workstation lives in that workstation's file, not root. Constitution, not encyclopedia. 2. Default your model to Sonnet, not Opus. Opus is powerful and significantly more expensive. Drafting emails, sorting files, summarizing documents, Sonnet handles all of it perfectly. Set Sonnet as your default and reserve Opus for explicit, high-stakes technical work. 3. Run the session audit. At the end of every working session, tell CoWork, run a session audit and update MEMORY.md. 30 seconds, every time. Over weeks, this compounds into a memory system that genuinely reflects how you work, not just what you did once. Tight root file, Sonnet default, regular audits. Those 3 habits are the difference between a CoWork OS that stays sharp and one that bloats and slows. Here's where most people stop. They watch a video like this, think, "That's interesting," and go back to opening CoWork and typing from scratch. Don't do that. You have the architecture now. 2 text files, 3 levels, a system that remembers who you are and works the way you work. The CoWork Starter Pack, linked in the description, gives you the exact guardrail instructions to paste into CoWork settings before you do anything else. Protect your files from day one. The prompt template shows you how to write outcome-first prompts that get finished work out of CoWork, not just drafts you have to rebuild from scratch. Here's the 3-step launch plan. Step 1. Create your CoWork OS folder. Drop in your root CLAUDE.md and MEMORY.md. Build out your first workstation, whichever one covers the work you do most. Step 2. Run one real session. Give CoWork a real task, a real folder, a real deliverable. Not a test, a real one. Step 3. Run the session audit before you close.
One time. See what lands in your MEMORY.md. That's your system beginning to work. 3 sessions in, you'll have a real system. 2 weeks in, CoWork will feel like it knows you, because it does. All the resources from today, Starter Pack, Prompt Template, Framework Guide, Leak Detector, the links are in our description. So as we wrap up today's video, I leave you with a question. So, which level will change how you work most? Is it root, or workstations, or projects? Drop your answer in the comments below. As I read every single one, and your answer could shape what we build next. By the way, we're running a summer sale right now, 50% off everything at AI Biz Catalyst with code SUMMER50. The link is in our description below. Until next time, keep learning and keep building.